To Jesus this morning, and his tough words is, yikes. Yikes. I mean, he is really tough on us today. I mean, which one of us doesn't have money? Which one of us doesn't have food at our tables every day? Which one of us doesn't experience at least some bit of laughter in our life? And which one of us doesn't appreciate it when someone says something good about us? And all these things that Jesus is harsh on today, I think all of us have regularly and like to have. And so what is this? What does Jesus mean? Why is he being so kind of angry and difficult and challenging and really harsh towards us? I think the key that unlocks this gospel for us this morning really comes from our first reading from the prophet Jeremiah. You know, Jeremiah, he begins and he says, "Curse the man who trusts in human beings. Cursed is the one who turns his heart away from God." And this is, I think, the really important point for us to grasp this morning. Everything falls apart when our hearts turn from God and begin to focus on something in this world. And we know this. I mean, this is the story of being human. This is from the very beginning. You know, you think about the Israelite people and the exodus from Egypt and being set free from Pharaoh. And what do when Moses leaves them for just a little bit? Aaron creates a golden calf for them to turn their hearts from God to this stupid golden object, right? This God who has set them free and done so much for them, in an instant, they turn away. They turn their hearts to something else. And it's this that Jesus is really warning us against this weekend. How dangerous it is that we turn our hearts away from God and focus on something else. So if we bring that first reading and we put it into our gospel as like the thing that breaks open the meaning of these four woes, I think what Jesus is saying really is brought home for each one of us. So that first woe to you who are rich. Or, if we use Jeremiah's words, woe to you who put your trust and your heart in wealth. Woe to you who put your trust in your money. We do this, don't we? All the time. Why? Why is it so easy for us to kind of put our trust in money? Well, because it gives us this false sense of security that if I have more money, I can rely on myself. I don't have to worry about other things. Right? The more money I possess, the more unlikely that anything that happens in this world is going to bother me. Right? If my car breaks down, well, I have money. I can take care of it. If I have a medical thing that happens, well, I have money. I can pay those bills. You know, money gives us that false security of I can take care of everything myself. I don't need anyone else. You know, that's the draw. That's the pull. That's why we do it. That's why we sometimes turn our hearts from God and our hearts onto things like money. And so Jesus very clearly this weekend, no, not your wealth, not your money, on God. God is the one who you must rely on. That is the one. God alone, not our wealth. What about this food thing? I mean, I like food. Come on. Woe to you who are filled up, because you'll be hungry later. Woe to you who put your heart on things of this world. Woe to you who put your trust on food and alcohol, drugs, even sexual sins, all of the sensual pleasures of this world. Woe to you who turn to that instead of God. I don't know about you, but one of my great temptations in life, especially when I have a very, very long, busy day, could be stressful, could be not, but whether it's stressful, just long days. When those days are done, you know what I want to do? First thing, I want to go have some food. You know, like two things come to mind. Number one is loaded cheese fries with bacon. Oh, is there anything better than that with ranch? Love it. But because I don't do that often, because my poor heart would probably cry and say, help me, I do something different, and that's chips and salsa, tortilla chips and salsa. Not much better, probably, sodium-wise, but, you know, that's what I reach for after a long, stressful day. But the point is, Our hearts turn to something when we're anxious, when we're stressed, lonely. We turn to any of these things: food, alcohol, drugs, sexual sins, all of them, because we're looking for something to fill the hole. And again, Jesus says, no, don't turn your heart to those things. Turn your heart to God, because God will be there for you. God will comfort you. God will provide the intimate friendship you need in this moment. I struggled with this third woe. Woe to you who laugh. Well, I love laughing. I love it when I hear you laugh. It's great. So what's the deal here? Why is Jesus being kind of a downer? And I may be a little off in this, but the way it makes sense to me is this. You ever go to a party or you're around a group of friends and people, and someone says a joke that might be demeaning towards others, or it might be inappropriate or impolite, and we laugh? And we laugh because we just want to fit in. I think we all have done that before, right? Where we laugh just to belong. You know, woe to you who just laugh in order to belong to a group. Woe to you who feel like you need to turn your heart to human groups over God's family. You know? And we know this well, don't we? We know it very well. I mean, just think about the Super Bowl. How many of us feel like we're a part of LA Rams fan base because Matthew Stafford is in the Super Bowl? We are all about attaching ourselves. We are longing, we are aching to be a part of a winning organization. All you have to do is look at the Detroit Rams shirts that they're selling in Detroit, Michigan, right? Because we want to belong to something. We want to be a part of it. We want to be a part of the success. Well, I think Jesus wants us to remind ourselves this weekend, it's not about any human organization that we belong to. Political party, no. No Detroit, no sports organization, no. No human organization can be as powerful and give us that sense of belonging like God's family. God is our Father, and our Christian group, our Christian family is brothers and sisters. Then there's that fourth woe. Woe to you who seek positive things. Woe to you who seek people who speak well of you. Woe to you who turn your hearts, who find trust in things and just the way that people think of you. Man, we know this well too. I mean, all you have to do is look at social media, right? Facebook and getting a like, Instagram and getting a heart, YouTube and getting a subscriber, TikTok, I don't know what you do, but you do something. But we look for some mechanism to say we're doing well, we're doing good. You know, I learned recently that it's funny because it's nice to hear. We all like it. We all like to hear we're doing a good job. And when I was at St. Robert at that parish, I remember learning, nice homily, Father, isn't always what it means. Because Father Len was celebrating Mass, and you've met Father Len. He's older. Be polite in the way I say that. He's older than me, right? White hair, full head of hair. He had the Mass, he was the homilist, but I'm greeting people as they're leaving, and someone says, "Nice homily, Father." Dude, that was the other guy. He's like 40 years older than me, but thanks. But, how often do we do this? We want to hear something nice because we put our identity and self-worth in what other people think. And what have I been talking about over and over again the past couple of weeks? Who we are is all about what God thinks of us. That we are God's beloved daughters and sons. So what's the point for us this weekend? Jesus is inviting us to turn our hearts totally to him. I think sometimes I was born in the wrong generation because I've got all these nieces and nephews now that are under 5, and they've got all these wonderful toys that, quite frankly, I enjoy today. And I'm sitting down playing, there's these like magnetic squares and triangles, you know what I'm talking about, some of you? Okay, those things are awesome. They are awesome. So I'm playing with these squares. Imagine these magnetic squares that you can attach to each other. One magnet square represents our desire, our tendency to turn towards our money. And then you put one on top that represents our tendency to turn towards food or things of this world. And another one on the right that represents our desire to belong. And another one on the bottom that is concerned about what others think of us. And then if you put your hand on the top of that square, that magnetic square that you've created, you just put a little bit of pressure, you know what happens? It falls down. It doesn't survive. It's not strong enough. It's because all of those things will never be good enough. They will never satisfy. But you take the three triangles, the triangles, and you put those together, and if the top point of that triangle represents Christ and turning our hearts on God, you put pressure on that top point, it doesn't fall apart. It stays strong. That's what Christ wants of us this weekend. The more and more that we put our trust and our heart towards God, the less and less we have a need to put it to all of these other things. And so, that's what Jesus is asking of us this weekend. Not trying to be a downer. He just wants us to remember that God is the one for whom our heart belongs.